Whenever you're going to create a melee build in Fallout New Vegas, there's always some weapons that you have in mind. Something strong like the Super Sledge, unique fire axe, or possibly the thermic lance, or if you're playing unarmed, you've got things like greased lightning, or, the ballistic fist, because it's always fun to have a shotgun attached to your wrist, but there's a couple weapons that you really never want to use in a melee build. That's why today I wanted to ask if you can beat Fallout New Vegas using only the lead pipe. It's been a minute since I've done a Fallout New Vegas video, so it's kinda nice to be back playing the game again. I kinda missed it a little bit. Anyways, first thing on the agenda is of course to rob Doc Mitchell blind, because his supplies are now mine. He doesn't leave the house, so he doesn't need them anyways. My special stats were spread out a little weird this time around. Normally I don't put full 10 into anything really, but I figured the 10 strength would be kinda necessary this run. For tag skills, obviously, I chose melee weapons, speech, and medicine, since I was kind of hoping that this weapon wouldn't be trash by the end of the game, and I was right. For traits, I went with heavy-handed and skilled. There's really no reason to not take skilled on pretty much any character just because it's such a great trait, and the downside is easily negated as soon as you hit level 2. So after that, I talked to Doc Mitchell, and of course headed right over to Chet's shop so that I could resupply myself on stim packs, because I, of course, don't have my weapon yet. There's not a whole lot else for me to do here, so I headed off towards Primm. Primm is pretty much the only reliable spot I know of, according to the wiki anyways, to get a lead pipe early on, which kind of sucked. I was getting shot here a lot, and I had to burn through basically half my healing items before I finally found the right house where the weapon was. It was just kind of laying next to this bed, and I took that as being in the sheriff's house, not in this specific house, because the wiki just said that it was in the northwest house. That's, pretty vague. So I went to the northwest section of Primm, where, the sheriff's house is, and it wasn't in there. Spent too much time over there getting shot, so I, of course, tried to figure out where it was, and eventually found it over here. After that, I pretty much beat everyone to death, and then found a couple convicts that seemed to have gotten themselves stuck in a tire. I beat them to death, and then headed over to the Vicky and Vance Casino, where I beat everyone in there to death as well. I don't really know why I felt like killing everyone in there, I just kind of did. It's been nice to, come back to New Vegas and finally have my free reign of just murdering a bunch of random people back again. Again, I swear I'm nice in most of these runs, but, the videos say otherwise, but that's great. I get a free pass to murder people and just say that it's for the video. Anyways, after that, I headed off towards Hidden Valley because, of course, I always take this path. There's really not a reason to go the other way because I wasn't really confident in my ability to fight cazadors with a lead pipe and, of course, leather armor. I was, however, confident in my ability to fight centaurs. The centaurs went down about 2 to 3 hits each and were worth a nice little chunk of experience. Tabitha, however, nearly beat my ass a couple times because I had to burn through, again, more healing with her because she hit like a absolute tank. The leather armor that I usually keep at the beginning of the game isn't really that great. Of course, it can't block explosions, so I got noob-tubed. Yep, we're back to New Vegas, alright. It's not a New Vegas video unless I'm getting my limbs blown off by something or other. I also got my head bashed in by a nightkin while running over towards El Dorado substation since I needed to mark that for later. I figured I would side with Mr. House this run since I don't really remember who I sided with on my last New Vegas video and I really didn't feel like checking. For some reason, I was able to one-shot these Vipers. I don't know why they had such little amounts of HP, but we're just gonna go with it. Anyways, after murdering a couple other people, including some NCR deserters, I was off towards the Strip. Normally, I, of course, stop by the gunrunners, but in this run, there's not really a need to. I don't really think the lead pipe takes ammo. I probably could have turned it into a makeshift shotgun or a pipe bomb or something, but we're gonna, just ignore that. Anyways, I did stop by the gunrunners actually to just sell off a bunch of shit so that I could, of course, afford to get into the Strip, and then proceeded to beat my favorite NPC to death for my free suit of Mark II combat armor. The suit was, pretty worthless, but it was a lot better than my broken leather armor that I had at that point. And of course, I needed it for my next segment, which is everyone's favorite part of the video, probably, where I go ahead and beat the entirety of the Kings to death, including Rex. The puppy does not get to survive. Everyone outside died, just the same. They're weak. And I was kind of concerned when old Ben was walking towards me because he looked aggressive, but it turns out he was trying to save my life. That did not stop me from executing him, however, and I will not stop ever executing him because he deserves it. I don't know why, but he does. Anyways, when I got to the strip, my first stop was not the Omertas for once. I actually went over to the tops and just talked to Swank so that I could get him to let me beat Benny and his guards to death in plain daylight without anyone really interfering. Of course, once that was done, I got to beat my favorite furry to death outside in broad daylight because nobody seems to intervene whenever you just beat Vulpes to death. I don't know why. I don't know if the devs just coded it that way so that you wouldn't get like aggroed by the entire strip, because technically Vulpes is Legion, but they don't have like a differentiating recognizing factor for him when he's in his civilian clothing, because I mean if you just execute a regular gambler then the Securitrons get all pissed off. So I don't know how that works. I'm kind of bad at, game design and all that. I don't understand a lot of it. Anyways, off to the fort next. Yeah, this didn't go great the first couple attempts, but of course, I just hid in a tent and everything was fine. I did blow through a lot of healing items here because a lot of the enemies here were doing a lot of damage to me for some reason. I don't know why. It was probably the fact that they had a lot of weapons and their armor is, really great, and of course I have a lead fucking pipe as my only weapon. This thing is like good in some scenarios and then completely trash in others. I think when I was at endgame with like a couple melee perks and the weapon, completely maxed out and all that, I was dealing around 40 damage a hit, not including, damage threshold and all that, armor, whatever. But it's just not great. It's a lead pipe, man. What do you expect from it? Not to mention it doesn't help that I took heavy-handed for extra just base damage, which meant that I was doing less crits, which of course is going to make the Brotherhood and all that a nightmare. Anyways, the Omertas were dealt with, everybody was pretty much dealt with at this point. I went back to Mr. House and let him know that I was ready for the next step, which was, of course, the Brotherhood. Speak of the devils. Yeah, the Brotherhood did not go well the first couple attempts. I got pretty much harassed instantly by the energy weapons, even though I had combat armor. I did, spend quite a little bit of time here just trying to figure out what the best course of action was, since I was doing basically like 10 damage a hit against the Brotherhood. They have a shit ton of damage threshold because of their, power armor, obviously. Eventually, just brute forcing my way through the area, spamming quick saves, spamming healing items, and just generally abusing the AI worked out in the end for me, and I was able to get all the key cards and blow up the bunker. With the Brotherhood of Steel destroyed, I could move on to the rest of the game. I say the rest of the game, but there's not really that much left to do. I headed back to the Lucky 38 so that I could talk to Mr. House again. He told me that I sucked for having bad relations with the NCR because I couldn't save President Kimball, and told me to piss off and go do El Dorado Substation. I did this in like 5 seconds. I literally showed the entire clip here. It took no time at all, and then it was time for the second battle of Hoover Dam. I started out by beating the Great Khans to death, and then started fighting the Centurions, who were pretty much pushovers compared to the Brotherhood. That's pretty much how these runs go, though. I was surprised to find that the NCR heavy troopers died a lot quicker. I don't know if I just got more crits on them or what, but they went down extremely fast. I powered on the dam so that I could, proceed with the quest, and immediately had a game crash as soon as I left to go back outside. I'm not entirely sure why. I assume it has something to do with the pop-in that just made the game have a seizure and then make me reload it. We're going to ignore that and move on to the Legot's Camp, where I just cyberbullied all the Praetorian guards, none of which were really that challenging or anything. They go down pretty much without a fight. Anyways, the Legot also was kind of a pain in the ass. I didn't have my speech high enough to get him to 1v1 me, so this fight was mostly dealing with his guards and not really him. He just kept running away from me and throwing grenades at me for some reason. I don't know why he has so many damn grenades, but, other than that, it was pretty easy. The most annoying part was just dealing with the guards. The gun ones I couldn't deal with that were up on the cliff because, again, I don't have a ranged weapon. I couldn't really throw the pipe at them either, so I just went and got the NCR to arrive and started to deal with General Oliver. Again, no speech was high enough here, so I couldn't really deal with them peacefully, so I just beat them all to death with the Securitrons, and that was that. I beat Fallout New Vegas using only the lead pipe. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. If you have suggestions, please leave them in the comments below. It's been a hot minute since I've done a Fallout video, and it feels really good to be back doing them again. I plan another New Vegas video as the next video, and then I have no idea what I'm going to do after that. So, again, if you have suggestions, please feel free to leave them down below so that I can figure out what to do in the future. Thank you guys so much for the support lately. The growth has been absolutely insane on the channel. We're closing in on 1,500 subs, which is an insane milestone to me, considering I really only started doing these challenge videos back in May of this year. Anyways, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.